What you suggest is the cornerstone to enable machines to predict when someone gets that emotional connection, or that how they're falling in love with something or someone.
Sure, I think the more data that you have that's relevant to any decision you're making, then that puts you on the right path. Mm-hmm. And now we have a tremendous amount of data. We use one particular technique which people may be familiar with, which is the visual DNA personality test.
Okay.
And that's a quiz that's been taken by 40 million people globally. And we build segments from that, and we extrapolate and model that data. And on the subject of the emotional and the personality aspects, coming back to whether people love a phone model or a network, or it's a retailer or certain other products, then we found that emotional and personality data is very powerful.
Okay, that's interesting.
We actually built a segmentation in 2013 called emotive segmentation. There were 11 different segments of different attitudes to love derived off that personality test, from tender hearts to loving companions to romantic roller coaster individuals. Lots of different traits determined by 5 or 6 different questions. And when you look at those people's affinity to different brands as well, often you can have great correlation with the type of products that they're going to buy as well.
So whilst we had managed to find the right people via the machine, the actual emotional response came from the content, and we could see that because some of them worked much better than others. And in particular, we had a combination of local or UK-based celebrities versus some global assets, because this was a global campaign, and certainly it was the local personalities that resonated much more. So it was, the machine had found the people, but I think the connection had been created by the content and the creative itself. Going back to the personality thing that Jim's just been talking about, we also then, on top of all of that, there are 2 very distinct personalities for mums. One is a bit more relaxed and laissez-faire in her approach to motherhood and what's going on, and kind of goes with the flow a bit more than our, what we call blue mums, are a bit more want to know lots of knowledge and the science behind everything. So, and we do that, we attempt to target mums along that journey via a number of ways, either through first-party data and then through where people stick their hand up, and a lot of it's about finding the signals and then capturing those, because really, something like a lookalike model doesn't really work, because the one thing we're trying to tell that's different is whether or not you're pregnant or have just had a baby. Everything else about you and your online behaviour and your purchase intent and everything else might be exactly the same as someone that's not happening to. So a lot of it's about combining first-party signals, third-party data, and then quite a lot of second-party partnerships, particularly around, in the media landscape, around specific mum places.
We find a lot of information about people's lives, across channels, if you like, but in the real world. Because we can tie the personality data that we capture. Okay, it's an online quiz of visual DNAs, but it asks you about all of your real world behaviours. Then we have information on Nielsen panels like home scan, which includes all the packaged goods people buy, which retailers they visit. You can piece all this together and create a great multi-channel picture of someone's life that goes right across their, you can understand their demographics, their interests, their purchase intent, their brand preferences, and you can get a very good idea on timing of different events and different purchases for pretty much every product or service.